I think we should continue with the next talk. It's about Phantomjs, very much to me.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Raj, and I will be talking about Phantomjs tonight. So, how many of you have already heard about Phantomjs or maybe have already worked with Phantomjs? Okay, so quite a few hands. So I will start with Phantomjs, and it's just that the pictures that I used in my presentation have been copied from Google, so they doesn't belong to me. And so today I will talk about, I will start with what is Phantomjs, the most important point. Then we'll be talking about download and install, which is very simple. And following the tradition of programming, we'll start with hello world. And then I will talk something about screen capture, and then few of the APIs which Phantomjs offers. And then in the end, we will talk about troubleshooting and some good and not so good features of Phantomjs. So what is Phantomjs? Phantomjs is created by Arya Hidayat, and it is based on, and it's a headless browser, of course, and it is based on Qt WebKit. And just for the information, WebKit is the power engine which is used by different browsers like Apple Safari and Google Chrome, and in fact there are many other browsers which uses WebKit as the power engine. And so Phantomjs is also based on Qt WebKit. So actually WebKit project was started as a branch of KHTML and KJS libraries from KDE, and Phantomjs is then driven by like its API supports JavaScript, and it is ideal for headless website testing. So like you write tests and then you don't really need to go then you really don't need to go to a browser, and you can use this headless browsers to run your tests. And it can be used to capture screen, so screen capture, and it can be used to do page automation. So if you have a form, or maybe you do something like A, B, C, D, E on the browser, then you can do the same stuff with it. So it's like page automation from the command line, you can do it. And since Phantomjs allows for the sniffing of the network, and it can be integrated with Wislow, and so it can also be used for the network monitoring. So you can really monitor the performance as well. And important thing is Phantomjs is not a test framework. But it can only be used to launch tests via suitable test runners. So it's not a test framework. And where to find? The official website is phantomjs.org, and the latest version is 1.8, but tomorrow most likely you will see 1.9 as the latest version. So they are almost about to release 1.9 version. And in fact there was a discussion going on if 1.9 to be released or if 1.9 to be skipped and jump to 2.0. But then they finally decided that 1.9 will be released. So most likely tomorrow you will see the latest version as 1.9. And it's a free and open source, is available at GitHub. And the momentum is there are lots of users and lots of companies which are using Phantomjs for one or the other purpose. And then they provide a lot of feedback, and then these feedbacks are a source of momentum for Phantomjs project. And another is continuous enhancements and bug fixes. So there are lots of users who raise this bug, and then they get fixed, and then the new release comes. So that's the source of momentum for Phantomjs. Download and install, there are two options. One is the binary is already available for different operating system versions like Windows, Mac operating system, Linux. And as soon as you have the binary, then if you want, you can set the path, or otherwise you are ready to go with Phantomjs. Or the other alternate is to build it from source, but since the source has the WebKit module, which takes quite some time to compile, so then it may take some time, and approximately the website says it takes somewhere like 30 minutes at least. So while building it from source, it can take some time. So we will start from the very first project, from the very first program, which is of course which is also a very boring program, and it doesn't do anything. It just console.log hello.world on the console. So this is like, oops, sorry. So this will print hello world, and at the end I have to call phantom.exit. So if you don't call phantom.exit, then the process of phantom will always remain alive. So at some point of the program, you really have to call phantom.exit. And if you have to run it, then it's like Phantomjs, but it's not going to do any magic. It will only say hello world. So let's have an example, second example. Is it visible, or should I change the color fonts? Okay, let's. Is it better now? And is the color okay? Or okay, yeah. So here I'm using the module web page, which I think anybody who works with Phantomjs has to use it. Like, I mean, it's not mandatory, but of course for the purpose you use Phantomjs, then you always use a web page module. And here I'm referencing it with the variable page, and then I'm opening google.com here, and on the third line I do page.render. Sorry, on the fourth line I do page.render, and what page.render do is it will take a screenshot and with the PNG, and after 2 seconds it will say phantom.exit. So if I have to run it, and I say web page, so sorry, I go here, and oh, network there. Okay, actually I was expecting a google.png and it's somehow not there, so let's see how. Maybe it's taking time, and maybe I increase the set timeout, and let's give it some more time to get this done for us. So maybe I say here 4 maybe, or let's say 5, and if we are lucky we will get this. Oh, there it is. So actually it's just that it's taking time to render the page Google, and so that's why we were missing when the set timeout was 2 seconds. So when I made it 5 seconds, then it created this screenshot, and there we have the screenshot. So okay, so I'll come back to my slides here. So yeah, so that's how we can really take a small, that was a small example to take a screenshot of a web page. And then we come to code evaluation. So if you have some JS script or something which you really want to run on web page context, then you always use evaluate. And it's important to understand that that we can divide the context in 2 parts. One is Phantomjs, maybe Phantomjs context, and another one is web page context. So by using evaluate, I can run the code on the web page context, and it takes a function, and I can pass the arguments, and the arguments can only be simple objects, but cannot be a function, or I cannot really pass function or closures. And the execution in the web page context is sandboxed. And of course, we can do DOM scripting, and CSS selector is fine. And if we do console.log on the web page context, then they will not be printed on my console, because they will be printed on the web page context. So to get those console.log messages on my PC or maybe on my console, I have to call this onConsole callback method. And example of code this evaluate is so here's a very simple example, and I have it like first I refer this module web page with page, and then I come here and I print that this is not in the web page context, and then I open a page, let's say facebook.com, and after opening this page I get this title here. But now here on the web page context, since I'm using page.evaluate, so anything inside it is executed on the web page context. So I go here, and this is like console.log. So, but as soon as console.log is triggered, this will trigger my callback method, which is this one. And then this will print anything in the web page context is printed by me on this console, and then I display the message, which is actually this message here. And then I return the title, and here in page.evaluate I pass an argument like s, which is actually the title, and then I have console.log, title is, and then the title of the page. So sorry, so if I execute this one, so first it prints this is not in the web page context, and then it says, and then the message in my callback method is triggered, and it says anything in the web page context is printed by me, and then it prints what I wanted to print on the web page context, and in the end I get the title of the Facebook. Yeah?
You said it's not a testing framework.
Yeah.
So, but it's used for testing.
Yes.
What do the actual, you said there's a lot of companies using that.
Yeah.
They're not using testing for what purposes?
Yeah, it's actually,
Somehow better than Node.js or jQuery or other.
yeah, that's a good question. Actually, it's not a test framework, but suppose you write tests, let's say Jasmine, and then you have to go to web browser every day to run your tests. So instead of doing that, you can use Phantomjs to make your test run every day without, and integrate it with some continuous integration system like Jenkins, and then it will be run every day. So you don't need a person to really run those tests from the browser. And then you can catch, because it's just like DOM, you can catch the outcome and then can see, okay, this is the report that is there. So that's the idea behind it. So, sorry?
Still testing.
Ah.
There's some other use cases or?
Yeah. In fact, yeah, one is like testing. Of course, you can run different tests from Phantomjs, just like you do it with different browsers. You can use Phantomjs, and like I said, advantages, you can run those tests from the command line and can get the output. And another one is, of course, sorry, in a minute. So, and the another one is to do different automation tasks, like if you have a form which you fill, then you can do it with the Phantomjs, and every day you can check if the outcome of filling up the form is okay or not. So that's how you can really use Phantomjs for somewhat testing purpose. Yes?
I have another one. For example, to collect metrics, if you want to know how fast your web page renders, you could actually use a scripted web browser like Phantomjs to collect those metrics. Or you could render a client-side JS app and dump the HTML, the rendered HTML afterwards. For example, to serve a search engine which doesn't understand your JS app. So it's actually a pretty useful tool.
Yeah, and the next example I have is a small form which I will fill with the Phantomjs. So maybe that might give you more in depth what I mean by that. So let's say I have a small form here. Seems like the network is really very fast. And then I suppose I go to contact here and come on. Okay. Okay, it's a very small, simple form. And suppose if I do it like from here, maybe I say Raj every day, and then I give my email address, something like this one, and then I say blah, 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 or something like this. So blah, blah, blah. And then I submit this form. So this is how I do it from a normal browser, which is Firefox. So actually, it's maybe I think the network is like lightning fast. So.
Yes,
Is there
neighbors download movies from our Verizon network, and that's like.
okay. Is there any other way I can connect with internet? No. Okay. Because I think this wired network as well do not work. I tried with it in the beginning. Anyways, I think that is not going to work. But okay, okay. The stuff that I did here with the normal browser, what I was expecting was to get a success message that my form has been submitted. So that was what I was expecting. And if I have to do it same with the Phantomjs, then yeah, so if I have to do the same with Phantomjs, what I do is I open the page, I open the URL here, and after that I give the information, and then this information has to be submitted on the web page. So I call here page.evaluate, and I pass the arguments, 3 arguments to my Phantomjs browser, and then I fill up this form, and in the end I click on the submit button, and then I wait. So I come down, and then I wait for, let's say, 10 seconds. And in the end, I expect that the result, I get the result like this, and I say page.evaluate, and I get anything that is like with the class success underscore send mail. And then I print the result like this is the result. If I run it now, most likely it will fail because the network is not supporting today. So. Most likely this will fail.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Do you really have to wait, or do you just can add event listeners to?
Here in this set timeout, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the next example is to overcome this limitation actually. So, actually that's right because here even if I get a response after 2 seconds, sorry. Yeah.
Need alternative internet access? Fast internet access?
No, I don't have. I mean I only have connected from wireless.
I can give you alternative internet access which is faster than the internal networking probably.
Oh, okay. I think that is fine.
If we have the second.
Ah, okay. Or maybe I can help. Okay, what is it called? Like
CCC.
okay, go here, move network. Okay, this one.
Yeah.
Let's see, and what would be? Okay, yeah, let's try this one now. Oh, okay. This works, yeah. Thank you. All right. Thanks a lot. Well, so this was what I was expecting actually. Like after I submit a form, and I expect that, okay, this kind of message is what I want to get. So from my script, if I run this one now, so Phantom and this one now. So okay, I mean last time as well it was successful, and so what it's doing is it is going to that website and filling up the name, name, email address, and some message, and then I catch the return message, and I say, got the message, your message has been sent, thank you for contacting us. So instead of really going to a browser, I can do this from Phantomjs. But now in this program, like I think many of you might have already observed that here the set timeout is somewhat strange, because even if I get the reply after 2 seconds, I still wait for 10 seconds, which is not the best way to do it. So the alternative way of doing this program is this one. So the difference is, it's not that scary actually. Maybe it's bigger in size. Okay. Anyways, the difference here is I'm calling a wait for function, which I'll go in a second on the top, which I have defined on the top. And what I'm doing is I'm trying, as soon as success_sendMail class is visible, then I execute this one here. Then I execute the rest of my part. And what this wait for function is doing on the top is it takes 4 arguments. First is test fx, which says what is your condition. Second, it says, okay, if the condition is true, what should be the second function which I should be executing. Third is how many times should I check for that condition, So that is like timeout. And what if this is timeout, then if there's any other function which I should execute. So these are the 4 arguments, and then it uses set interval and it checks for every 250 milliseconds. So if I run this program, so as soon as I will get that div visible, so as soon as I will get that div visible, the rest of my program will be executed, and that's how you see, like now it was very fast. So it doesn't have to wait for 10 seconds to get the reply. So that was like filling up form with this page dot something more about this page evaluate. And next is not exactly say cheese, but it's the ability of Phantomjs to take screenshots of my website. So there are few paid services like URL to PNG, which actually charge money to take the screenshots of your website. But then Phantomjs has an inbuilt screen capture capability. So you use page.render to take the screenshot, and PNG, JPEG, GIF, and PDF options are supported. And along with this, you can give few options like clip-rect, which actually is like crop. So it says to crop the image from the top left of this much width and this much height. And if you don't give it, then it will render the complete page. And for paper size, paper size is when you want to render it as a PDF file. Then you say how much should be the width and height of the paper. How much is the width and the height of the paper, and also it supports border. Then you can give orientation like landscape, and then it supports different formats like A3, A4, A5, and letter and tabloid. And another option you can use is zoom factor. So by zoom factor you can scale an image. So 1 is like by default, and if it is more than 1, then it is like zoom in, and if it is less than 1, then it is like zoom out. And let's see an example here. This example is taken from Phantomjs examples. And rasterize. What you will find one more line is like system, which is actually like calling the system module, and I'm passing arguments to this function, to this program, and after this I set the width and height and what kind of format I need, and then in the end I do the page render. So if I execute it like Phantomjs and rasterize, so then it should say that you need to provide a URL and file name. And if I say http:// let's say facebook.com, and then the file name, let's say facebook.pdf, suppose, and I want to have it like A4 and with 1. So it will only create a PDF like facebook.pdf, and so it's like it will create a facebook.pdf and of A4 paper size, and 1 as the zoom factor, which is of course default as well. So this is how the screen capture is, and and then there are few projects which are actually based on Phantomjs. Like one is Screener. If let's say click. So this is one of the project which is based upon Phantomjs, and what it's doing is it says to enter a URL like let's say espn.com, and then it will give you the screenshot of it. And then you can download something, and then it will show the screenshot. So this project is based on screen capture capability of Phantomjs. Another interesting project is Media Query. And Media Query, actually what Media Query do is it will try to show your web page based on different screen sizes. So that's the idea behind this project Media Query here. And there's the third project, which is also based on Phantomjs, and I found it quite interesting, is ChromaNope. And the idea behind ChromaNope is it will try to take a screenshot of your page, and then it will try to show how does that page looks to a person who has color blindness. So like you can see how your page looks like to the color blindness. Oops. So it's like normal vision will see this page like this, and if it is like ProtonOpe, then he will see the page in this in this format, like on this colors. And so by using this project, you can find out how your page will look like to every section of people then. So that's the idea behind this project. And all the three projects are based on Phantomjs. So they use Phantomjs in the background. Then I will talk a few APIs of Phantomjs. First is web page. So to refer the module, you say require webpage.create, and then you can open a URL with page.open. Then you say URL, and then you can give a callback function, and Then if you want to close, then close a page from Phantomjs context, then you can use page.close. This will also clears the memory heap which was assigned to the page object. And go back and go forward is like the normal browsers forward and back buttons. And title gives you back the title of the page, and URL is like will give you back the URL. Then there are a few settings that you can do on your web page context, like you can say if you want to enable JavaScript or not, or maybe if you want to load inline images or not. And similarly, you can pass username and password for HTTP authentication. And then you can also include a JS file like page.include, and then you can give some URL where the JS file is like maybe jQuery something blah blah.js, and after this you can call a function what you need to execute with that JS file. And inject JS is like you can include a JS file from the file system, but this will only return true or false. So the return value will be true or false. Then there are a few callbacks which are very helpful. So these callbacks are like onload started. So as soon as you open up a page, this is the first callback that gets triggered, and it's like onload started. Onload finished is another callback. As soon as your page is loaded, this is the function that gets triggered. And this is the callback which is also used here. Sorry, okay, I cannot, okay, here. This is onload finished is the callback which is called in the page.open as well. And on alert is whenever your web page has an alert box, then it is on alert. On callback is still experimental, but there are a few good uses of on callback, like whenever from the web page context you call phantom.onCallback, then this is the function which will get triggered. And the idea behind this is in the web page, suppose you are waiting for some action to happen, then as soon as it's done, you can always call phantom.onCallback, and then you will get this callback triggered. Otherwise, you will have to run page.evaluate all the time to see if that is done or not. And on closing is triggered whenever you close the page from the web page context or from the web page context or the Phantomjs context. So from Phantomjs context, like you close it page.close, and from the web page context you maybe like call window.close. So then on closing will be triggered. On confirm is JavaScript confirm gets triggered whenever it encounters JavaScript confirm, and then it returns true or false so as to answer yes or no. On console message is whenever you have console.log in your web page context, then this is the function that gets triggered. On error is triggered whenever you have some error in your web page context or have an exception on the web page, then this is the function which gets triggered. Then the next API is system API, and you initialize with require system module, and it gives information more about the system like PID, platform, operating system, environment, and you can also get the arguments with this module. So if it is, if I show this example, it's like so it's it just waits for it will print all my arguments, and then it will print the PID, platform of my operating system architecture, name, and my environment variables. And environment variables is like same as env in the Unix. So if I say Phantomjs and arguments, and if I pass arguments like arg0, arg1, so then it will print here is my environment variables, and on the top is the arguments and the platform and the operating system architecture. So this is how system API is. Then is file system API, and we initialize with require fs, and then we can give, there are lots of more APIs related to file system and other like web page and system, but I think better is to read it on the Phantomjs org. So separator is like / for Unix and / for Windows. Working directory is what's your working directory. Exist is if the path exists or not, and it returns true or false. And if you want to write a file, then you say write. And the last is like remove, if you want to remove the path. Then there are, now the next is like troubleshooting. What if something doesn't work when you use Phantomjs? So the first is like to find out if it is a network problem. So Phantomjs allows for network sniffing, and you can use callbacks like on resource requested and on resource received to get the information about the what's passed on the networks. And if some website is opening with HTTP, but it doesn't open with HTTPS, then it's a good idea to check TLS and SSL if you have it. And if to handle the errors, it's always okay to use on error callback. And if you want to, and also it is possible to do the remote debugging with Phantomjs, like calling with remote debugger port. And after calling this, you can open any browser which uses WebKit engine, and then open the page on this port number 9000 like here. And as soon as you open it, you will get the web page inspector, which is like very common. So then you can do the stuff with the web page inspector. Then few good things about Phantomjs is its speed and performance. It's a headless browser and is faster as compared to other browsers, like as compared to the browsers which are not headless. So it's faster. Then it's since it is using WebKit as its power engine. So the browsers which are using WebKit as its power engine has market share of somewhere like 40%, and which is even more than the market share, combined market share of Trident engine, which is used by Internet Explorer, or Gecko engine, which is used by Mozilla. So WebKit engine is the has the largest market share in the browsers. And you can do automation and headless testing, like we saw a few simple examples. And since this is like you can run it from the command line, and so you can simply integrate it with continuous integration systems like Jenkins. And then there are lots of projects which are based on Phantomjs. Some of it like Casper.js, which is synchronous in nature, and Poltergeist, which I guess is for Capybara. So few things which are not very nice in Phantomjs is it uses Qt WebKit, and if you have few functions, or maybe if you have some tests which runs fine on Phantomjs, then it's 90% that they will run on all the browsers. But if 10% is very important for you, then Phantomjs is not the solution. So it's like it's similar, but it's not same like any other browser. Then it has asynchronous API, which many users, or which many of us find very difficult to work with, because somewhere you have set interval or set timeout or something like this. And then there are no support for plugins, since plugins are windowed, and the idea behind Phantomjs was to have 100% headless, so there's no support for plugins like Flash. And no support for WebGL. Otherwise, Phantomjs had to use some emulation for OpenGL via Mesa, but then that is like too bulky. And video and audio as well, there's no support for video and audio since they use different kinds of codecs, and no support for CSS 3D and XPath with Phantomjs. So these all things are not supported. So that is all from my side, and let me know if you have something which we can discuss over. Yeah.
I have actually a question. Is it possible to download any assets of the web pages with Phantomjs?
Like assets like?
For example, the JavaScript files.
With Phantomjs, No.
So it just runs, you can't capture any screens, but no download.
Yeah, it can capture any screen, but yeah, no download.
What would happen if you give it a URL to a JS file then?
Sorry?
What happens if you pass in an URL to a JS file?
If you pass a JS file to the web context, or
You gave URLs like facebook.com, but what happens facebook.com JavaScript example.js?
yeah, that's a good example. Let's try to do it. Maybe I open this one, simplest program, and let's try to make something like blah, like this one, or is that okay? Or
An existing file.
Yeah, it should be an existing file.
sorry, like google.com and okay, what you want me to give here? Like this one? Is that okay?
No. avicon.ico.
Okay, fab ICO and okay, like this. Okay, let's try. Another thing I should have done is like I should have put a status here so as to see what's the status comes from the web page. Like I should have done it like status here and status here, and if the page is opened successfully, then I should get the status as success, otherwise it fails. So this will be then this like blank, so like nothing on the page. So, and if I do it in other way, like function status, and if I say like if status is double equivalent to success, then open up this page, then open this page and do the stuff and escape. Oh. And if somehow it's not, then simply do exit. And maybe a good idea would be to say console.log, and I say exiting, something like this, and then I say So actually, it was not able to open that page, and so it says exit. And as soon as you do page.render, by default it doesn't have any background, so it's like the blank screen then. So yeah.
Do you know which JavaScript engine Qt WebKit uses?
JavaScript uses no, I don't know. It's about like Qt.
And is there any possible way to use that, like the plugins are not working every plugin in what's needed window, but is it possible to think that plugins are there?
I think for plugins there's no option with the Phantomjs, but then since like it's an open source, then you have to go through the code like Qt WebKit, and then you have to write. Actually, earlier in the earlier version of Phantomjs, the plugin was supported, this Flash plugin, but then there was lots of problem with this one, and it was very difficult to debug since they have their own proprietary way of debugging. So that's why they dropped the idea of involving plugins.
Actually user agent who lets the web server know what plugin is installed. Right?
Sorry, yeah.
It's just the user agent who is showing that the plugin is installed, right?
User agent is something which goes to my browser and says, I came from this browser, and then display the information according to this information. So, and plugin is like when you have it on the web page context, then you cannot really use it with Phantomjs.
Yeah, I understand, but there would be easy way to get if it's a Phantomjs, right?
With Phantomjs, I don't think so. Like, how will you use plugin with it? So.
Or headless web browser.
Yes.
It says here it's not possible to download assets, but Casper JS framework.
Yeah, Casper.
Based on that one, there's a download.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, Casper JS is built on Phantomjs, and Phantomjs is, like I said, asynchronous, and Casper JS is synchronous, and is actually most of the users or many users find it easy to work with Casper JS, as they have more support for if you want to click on this link, then this link, or maybe if you want to go from this page to this page, then Casper JS is like better. But that is like built on Phantomjs on top of it.
What's the difference to Selenium? Despite the fact that it's headless, the syntax look pretty much the same as Selenium does.
I have very little experience with Selenium, but like I think with Selenium as well, you can choose a browser and then you can run the test on the browser. And with Phantomjs as well, now there's a driver, Ghost driver, which is written by Ian DiMarino, and which comes with Phantomjs now from 1.8 version. So you can really use this driver to run all your tests, which you used to run on Chrome or maybe on Opera. On Chrome or maybe on any other browser. So you can simply use Phantomjs as the browser with Ghost driver, and then you can combine with Selenium to make your test to run on Phantomjs. And I read on one of the blogs, which was by Ian DiMarino, that he compared the performance, and he found out that the tests which were targeted for Phantomjs is like more quicker.
What's the user agent of Phantomjs?
The user agent of Phantomjs depends on how you build it, but it's there is an example here. Let's try to. There are a few very good examples. When you download Phantomjs, then there are very good examples which you can use, and it's like, I think it's called useragent.js, and the examples comes with the JS file, and the example comes with the JS file and the CoffeeScript files. So. Sorry?
Does this mean you can?
Yeah. We can set the user agent from the settings, so we can really change the user agent. And today morning, I was trying to write a program by which I can really go to google.com, and then I want to, maybe I have a keyword and I want to see when my website appears with that keyword in the google.com. So it's, let me show that example. CD dot. So I have this example like Google search. Maybe I try this one. JS Google search, and the first is like the keyword which I want to look for. Maybe I say Hamburg web performance, maybe our name, web performance. And the second argument I can give is on which number I found meetup.com in in that google.com list. So if I run this one, so it starts with opening the page number 0, and it says this Hamburg Web Performance keyword exists as the first link with meetup.com. So it's like this is a small example of even going to Google. But I figured out that if I have more requests to Google from Phantomjs, then it asks for a captcha, and then it fails. So that's why I made this timeout to 7-8 seconds, so as to have some time before I get the second one. So if I have some like maybe something like it will try to go to the next page as well. So it will go to the next page, then we'll try to find out, and so maybe I say web performance, and let's see, web performance. So then it will open google.com, and it will, in the search field, it will enter web performance, and then it will try to find out on which link number it found meetup.com as the answer. So it's, I mean, it takes some time. So if you have any other question, maybe any other thing to discuss, I think we can take that question, because okay, so this exists on the 6th link on the page 1 on google.com. So otherwise, if it would not have found this one, then it would have gone to the next page, and we'll try to look out for this keyword. So yeah, so that's all from my side, and okay, thank you for your, thank you.